Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to cover all the books, electronics, equipment and accessory study aids that you will need to start medical school. I'm going to give you the blueprint on how to choose these resources, and there'll be a freebie at the end, so make sure you stay tuned. Now, when you're choosing books in medical school, the big question is, do you want to use hard copy books or soft copy? So you need to decide whether you prefer to hold the book in your hand, flip the pages, or you're okay with reading on a tablet or on a computer. Now that that's settled, let's get into it. So the first book that I recommend you get is the first aid for the USMLE. Now I personally don't have the hard copy of this book, but as I said, if you prefer to use hard copy books, then you can go ahead and purchase that book, especially if you plan to take the USMLE. Now with this book, it's important that you start going through it from early. So you don't have to use it as your primary study resource, but definitely start checking off your topics in the book. So whenever you do a topic in class, make sure that you read that topic in the first aid book and ensure that whatever is in first aid, you actually cover that in your class material. So when I was starting medical school, I was assigned a med sibling, and she's absolutely amazing, love her so much. So the advice I got from her was that I should purchase my anatomy books in hard copy. So to this day, I have 3 hard copy textbooks, and 2 of those hard copy books are my anatomy textbooks. One here is Last Anatomy. So this is the main text. Right, so I use it with the Netter's Atlas, which I'm sure a lot of people know already. So these books were tremendously helpful for those anatomy lectures. When your lecturer comes with like 100 slide PowerPoint and they go over it in 1 hour, a lot of those things are gonna fly over your head and you're gonna have to go home and go over the material by yourself. So these books were definitely worth the investment. The third hard copy book that I bought is the McLeod's Clinical Examination. Now, this book I bought when I was starting clinical rotations in my 3rd year of medical school, and it's extremely helpful. So it not only details the clinical examinations, but it also has pictures and other illustrations and comparison tables and so on that help you to understand the examination findings and what they might mean. So it's super helpful, and I would recommend that you get it. And by way of books, last by no means least, is this quick medical reference, the Maxwell Quick Medical Reference. Now, as you can see, it's used, right? Because the front page is literally gone. But I normally bring this around with me, and whenever I need to look up anything really quickly, I can just pop it out at any time. It has like the BLS algorithm, there are helpful equations, it has like normal lab values for hematology and so on. So if you need to look up anything really quickly, I found that it's very helpful for that. Now, in medical school, there are potentially tens, if not hundreds of books that are available on each topic, right? From anatomy to physiology, biochemistry, there are so many resources, books that are available. But you don't have to read all of them. Just choose 1 or 2 books that you find helpful and stick to those. So usually what is recommended is that you have a reference book, a review book, and a book that's kind of easy to read, right? So the reference book you'd go to for things that are kind of difficult for you to understand and you need a bit more explanation, then you can go to that, right? These are usually the bigger books. So for example, for physiology, you have books like the Guidance. Those are considered reference books. They are large and they have very detailed explanations. An easier to read book would be something like the Costanzo's Physiology. A book like that, you can read it before lecture and write down your questions, go to lecture, and then get them answered, right? A book like Costanzo's is much smaller than the reference book, Guidance. It's much easier to read. It may not have as much detail, but it does still outline the concepts in a way that you can understand. And as I said, if you still need more explanation, then you can always go back to the reference book. You also need a review book. So a lot of people use the BRS review series. I personally found them very, very helpful, especially in preclinical years. The practice questions that they have do really help you to cement the concepts. So once again, you need a reference book, you need an easy to read book, and you also need a review book for each course. And that's it for books. Okay guys, so now we're going to be talking about equipment. So as you can see, I have my stethoscope around my neck, right? So this is the Lippmann Classic 3 stethoscope. I think it's the color plum. And yeah, it's just really simple. You can get these engraved if you'd like. I did not get mine engraved, but you can get it engraved with your name. A lot of times your seniors will definitely want to borrow your stethoscope, you know, because sometimes they don't walk around with a stethoscope, so it's very handy to have. Now everybody doesn't do this, but you can opt to have a carrying case for your stethoscope. So mine is just a simple black case. Right, and inside it has different compartments. So here you'd put like your pen light. This is where I normally store my stethoscope, and I also have some cotton, and I have 2 tuning forks right here. I also have a Snellen chart. And also a bunch of random like tubes, needles, syringes, you know, just in case it's ever needed. We have a tape measure, right? And this is the self-retracting tape measure. It's very simple, lightweight, compact. You can literally just put it in your pocket and carry it around with you in case you're examining a patient and you need to measure, for example, like a lump that you see, you know. So yeah, tape measure does come in pretty handy. Okay, we also have the reflex hammer, right? So this is just a simple reflex hammer from Prestige Medical, and we use this, for example, when we're examining the musculoskeletal system. We want to check, like, for example, the patellar reflex, which I guess most people already know about. You could also check, for example, the jaw jerk reflex in the cranial nerve examination. And next up we have scrubs, right? So you don't have to go all out and buy like 10 pairs of scrubs, honestly. You may only need like 2 or 3 pairs, but if you want to get one for each day of the week, I won't judge you. Right, so scrubs come in pretty handy, especially when you're doing duties or calls, or when you are going into the operating theater. Right, so you need to ensure that you have scrubs with you, especially when you're on a surgical rotation. Guys, the last thing on the list is a pen light. I'll insert a picture of it on screen. I cannot find mine at the moment. I don't know where I placed it, but a pen light also definitely comes in handy when you're conducting physical examinations. So when it comes down to electronics, I definitely recommend that you purchase an iPad, right? It is super great, versatile. You can literally bring it anywhere, and it's perfect for taking notes, in my opinion, right? Now, as to which one you'll get depends on your personal preference, but I use the iPad Air 5 with the second generation Apple Pencil, and I love it, right? I also recommend that you get the paper-like screen protector. Now, I just bought this random one from Amazon, but any paper-like screen protector will be fine. It gives you that paper-like feel when you're writing, I guess, for want of a better word, and it makes the writing experience that much nicer. You'll also need an external hard drive, especially if your computer doesn't have a lot of storage, because you're going to be storing a lot of lectures, which can be very large, and a lot of video material, which also can be very large. And if you choose to use soft copy books instead of purchasing the hard copy, then you're also going to need a lot of space to store those if you don't store it on the cloud. So definitely get an external hard drive. And you're also going to need some earphones, right? So that way you don't have to stay home all the time when you're studying. You can go out and listen to your lecture recordings without disturbing others, or you can listen to music while you're on your way to school, or your favorite podcast, whatever it may be. And that is it for electronics. Now we are going to be talking about accessory study aids, right? So firstly, we have Anki. Now, if you do a simple Google search or search on YouTube, then you'll find a host of videos on Anki. Anki is just a space repetition software that allows you to make flashcards, and it will show you those flashcards based on when you first made them and how much you need to see them, right? So if you make a card today, it will show you the same card tomorrow, and then probably 2 days later, and probably a week later, and so on and so forth, right? And this is extremely helpful because in medical school you have a lot of information that you need to cover. Swatting doesn't really work well, so it's best to try and learn that information, and Anki is a great tool to help you. You can download the desktop version for free from their website. If you want to use their application for iPad or iPhone, then you have to pay a one-time fee of I think $25. Now, if you are a visual learner like myself, then Sketching Medical is a great resource for you to use. Right? They take the concepts that you need to learn and they make some amazing stories from it with great memory anchors to help you remember stuff. And there is Sketchy for pharmacology, for microbiology, I think, and I remember that there's Sketchy Farm, Sketchy Micro. So you may also hear about Amboss. So what Amboss does is that they basically create a summary of different topics. So they have a sheet of all the important information that you need to know. So from the definition all the way down to any complications, they just lay it out in a format that's easy to understand, and they also do provide practice questions. Now, I would definitely recommend that you get an Amboss subscription, especially if you are studying for step 1, because it is a great resource. So the mere fact that you're watching this video means that you already watch YouTube, and there are so many great channels on here that break down medical topics in a clear and concise way, and they can be a great supplement to your lectures, especially some difficult to understand topics. So there are channels like Armando Hasadongan, Dirty Medicine, Ninja Nerd, Zero to Finals, and The Noted Anatomist. Now, this list is not exhaustive at all. These are just some of the channels that I've watched over the years that have really helped me out, and I hope that you also find them useful. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.